in working with ActionScript, we recognize that there are properties, events, and methods with every object. And there are certain properties and certain events and certain methods that we will use over and over again, and those become very second nature. But every object has really a ton of properties, methods, and events, and no one would expect you to memorize all of those. But you should be able to use some reference helps to find what those things are. So in the code editor, over on the left-hand side, there is a reference list of ActionScript objects and the various properties, methods, and events that go with those. So I'm looking here at the top level, ActionScript 3.0. I'm going to scroll down because you may be looking for working with some math or the math class and wanting to know what different math methods there are. You can open up math, and there's methods and properties to the math class, and I click methods, and here are the different methods for working with the math class. So if I want to generate a random number, there's a random method here. If I want to find the lowest or the integer just below a certain number, there is a floor method. If I want to use one of these methods, I can right-click on it and I can add it to the script. I can also right-click on it and choose View Help and go to the Online Help. Now, to be honest, I found lately it seems that in CS6 this View Help doesn't go anywhere. And I don't know if it's a bug or if it's a problem with my system. So I'll show you in a little bit. You can also just simply Google this information and go to the Adobe Help site. I'm going to scroll down. Here's language elements. And I'm going to go to the flash.display, and I just happen to know that the movie clip is here. We can be programming a lot with movie clips. So I can open up a movie clip, and here are the events, the properties, and the methods that are associated with that. So I can look at methods, and maybe I want to know what the length of a movie clip is in terms of the number of frames. There is a total frames property. Same with the methods. We've looked at in some of our examples already the go to and play and go to and stop method and prev frame and next frame. If I want to find out more about those, including examples of how they are used, I can go to the help on those and get that information. So this is a nice resource to have. Let me jump over to a browser. And if I want to know about text fields, I might just simply type in Google ActionScript text field. And one of the sites that comes up is the adobe.com help reference, API reference. API stands for Application Programmer Interface. It's basically the collection of all the classes within a certain language. So I'm going to jump to this one. And let's say we're working with a text field, maybe a dynamic text field. We want to find out what the properties are associated with that. And so I'm now in the help screen for ActionScript 3, AS3 for text fields. And we'll talk about inheritance down the road, but a text field is a type of object, and there's a series of classes that it inherits from. And it gets all of the properties and methods and events from those objects as well. So they provide some information here on text fields, but I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and here are the properties of a text field. Now notice there's this link to show inherited public properties. Those are those properties that come from the objects or the other classes from which this class has been derived. So here are the properties for a text field. And you'll notice that text is one that we've been using. If I wanted to find more information on that, I can click on it and find out more information about what it's expecting. It's expecting a string. That's the data type. And then I can even see some examples of how it would be used. I'm going to scroll back up here. I'm going to click on this link to show inherited public properties, and you see this list expands considerably. And wherever you see these arrows, those are the inherited properties that are coming from another class, from one of the parent classes. So, for example, the name of the object. All objects have names, and so the name of the text field is inherited from that class. the mouse location, mouse X and mouse Y we can get when we're pointing into a text field. The width of the text field, as well as the height, those are inherited public properties. Then we have the public methods, and we can get the inherited public methods as well. So there's a method we'll look at here in a couple weeks, and that's the append text method, where we can add more text to existing text. And every object has a toString method. We can take any object and convert it to a string data type, and what it converts depends on that type of object. And then we have the events associated with that object. Show the inherited events. We're probably going to use inherited events more than events associated with the object itself. We've been using the click event a lot. With a text field, if the user enters text into a text field, there's a text input method that we might want to work with. And again, I can click on any of these and get more information. Within the help here, one thing that I find useful is simply go to classes up here at the top. And you'll then have a list of all the classes that are associated with ActionScript or with Flash. So again, if I want to find movie clips here, I can just simply scroll down and find movie clip in the list. And now I'm looking at the information for movie clips. And once again, I can scroll down and see the properties, the methods, and the events. And of course, when we Google anything, we're going to come up with a whole list of other sites, and those are oftentimes worth exploring. You'll find some forums where people are asking about how to do certain things with text fields or buttons or movie clips, whatever you've entered into the Google search. And so I would invite you to use Google as a great means of finding help in writing your Flash projects with ActionScript.